So Shaun, I know this running game is not something you should be taking for granted, always expecting to see 200 plus yards, but that was the average last year, 264, 222. I mean, are you also in this mindset, even though this running game is really clicking, you're just not taking for average that you're putting up over 200 yards every game?
No, I think that's our goal. I think Coach Edwards put up a stat. If we average over 200 yards, I think that we're doing pretty well. My expectation is going to be always that 300 or 400. I'm always nudging Coach Hill to run the football, but I think it's a good balance for us to run the football at about the 200, 250 yard mark.
Would you feel like you saw just from the depth of the group in that opener getting to give a bunch of guys some carries?
Yeah, it's going to be a long season, and I want to make sure that our guys can go into the season pretty healthy. There's always going to be nicks, and I wanted to get a younger guys a good feel of the game, and they've been working months, with George Hart and Deontay Elliott, for them later on in life to tell their grandkids that they got to carry the ball and things like that. Those things change people's lives, and for them to get that opportunity, I think that's a part of what coaching is about.
How did Rashad and Diamante look to you?
I thought they did good. They graded out really well. Of course, they want the ball a lot more, but, we're in long situations, and so the game kind of dictated that. But they're such good friends and do a great job sharing the load, and so I was happy for that first game.
Do you imagine that'll ever not be the case, that they want the ball more?
I know inside that, they want the ball more than they do, and not saying anything to each other, but they work pretty hard, pretty well together, and Daniel does a great job as well. And so if we can share carries like that, hopefully we can get through the 12, 13, 14 game season pretty healthy.
Shaun, did you know that Rashad was such a good receiver when he arrived?
It was funny because when we first got to know him in high school, I think that's the reason why he wasn't recruited as high, because he was that receiver guy, and he was 165 pounds, and he didn't get the looks that he wanted at the running back. But I think that plays a great part in how versatile he is at the receiver, at the, as a returner out of the game. But he's dynamic with the football, and he's a what we call a smooth athlete out there. So
165 is as a senior in high school?
Yeah. So he was that tall, lanky kid. I always tease him out, but he's grown up pretty well, and he wants to hold that 210 range. I think that's a good weight for him right now.
Chip, is he going to be okay?
Yeah, he's going to be okay. Just nicks and bruises, kind of keep him out caution-wise, and Daniel as well. Just precautions, and it gives the other guys who are getting installs for the first and second time and a little more reps. I know what those other guys can do, and so hopefully we just can keep them healthy.
And as a coach, it wasn't so much your group, but when a team has a lot of penalties, what's the message going forward? Is it just attention to detail? Is it drill work? How do you fix that?
No, absolutely. It's attention to detail. I think that the biggest progress comes from the first game to the second game where we can clean up all those things. And sometimes you can call it ticky-tacky. Sometimes you can what it is. If it's a flag, it's a flag, and there's no change in it. And so what the referees would call as a hold, we have to fix it on our side because they're not going to change their mind on their side. And so I think it's a building process of learning. Was it sloppy? Like Coach Edwards says, it was sloppy in our eyes, just because we want our kids to play perfect games and our standards are high, and the amount of penalties was too high for us. And so hopefully we'll clean that up.
How did you feel about the offensive line play and just what they were able to enable for you guys on the ground?
And again, they put us in long situations, and I told the running backs, I said, if we weren't in those long situations, I thought that we'd be running at 10, 15 yards a pop every time we touched the ball. They were doing a tremendous job on that front line. The group that I was so happy about was the tight end group. They did a heck of a job blocking, and then Coach Edwards is working in those tight ends, but cohesively, they're working really well, and hopefully we get better and better. There's a couple instances where holdings and jumping off sides. We just got to clean that up, but I think they're going to be an outstanding group.
How important is it to have that 1-2 punch with the running backs with COVID or with injuries or stuff like that?
Incredible. What's funny is that if one doesn't get enough reps or he's banged up, they kind of look at each other. So that 1-2 punch, they play off each other real well. And from a personnel standpoint, it's easy for me to get. Rashad was going to start the game, and then of course our first play is from the 3-yard line or whatever it is, and going into score. Well, we know from a personnel standpoint that's Chip's specialty, and so he goes in it, and Rashad doesn't get mad. He gets the next series, and so they play off each other really well. And having that 1-2 punch is huge.
Thanks.
Awesome.